Hi everyone, it's Joe. Welcome back to another ramble. It is 3:05 a.m. on Saturday, August 22nd. This is a ramble for August 20th, Thursday. Sorry for the brief pause there. I just did the ramble for Wednesday, and then I'm doing the one for Friday after I wake up again. So I wanted to at least get these two done, so we're only slightly behind. I'm sorry. And here we go. So I woke up around 8:45-ish, 9, and I got up, I got dressed, I was driving to campus to go get breakfast, and then Ricky texted and he said, hey, when I'm awake, do you want to go and play air hockey? And I said, well, I just left to go get breakfast, so I'll hang out down here, and then you come down when you're ready, and sure. So he came down, and I struggled, but I managed to direct him to the hangar where I was eating my breakfast. So I had breakfast, and then we took off, and we went and played air hockey. I hadn't played air hockey in ages, but I had a lot of fun, and he had fun too. I don't know how many games we played, but by the time we were done, we were both sweating. I'll say that. So we stopped at the cafe, and I got a coffee, and then I bought him like a Fanta or something. I was like, here, since you treated me to such a fun time with air hockey, I'll buy you a drink. So we got our drinks, and then he left. I think it was close to 12 by this point. I say because we were just chatting for a while too. But he left because his mom was going to be here at 1, so he wanted to get back to his room and just kind of chill. And I said, that's fine. So I went back to my room as well, and was just playing games and stuff, hanging out on my PC, just kind of chilling. And then I had we had a dorm meeting at 6, going over general policies and stuff. And then after the meeting, I went to go get dinner. So I drove to campus, got some dinner, had some pasta. It was really good. Had a cookie, because cookies are great. And then I was driving back here, and I noticed that my chair battery was being really funky. So I pulled over, and it was showing I had full battery, and then it would immediately show I had none. So I pulled over, and I called my dad, and I told him what was going on. And he said, okay, keep an eye on it. If the chair starts to slow down, we'll know something is actively happening and very, very wrong. So I was driving back, and then my chair started to slow down while I was on the phone with them. And the chair up and died. So I had to call campus police, and I was speaking to the dispatcher, and she basically said, I don't know what to do. I can send guys down there, and hopefully you guys can figure something out. Which, quite frankly, I don't understand how you can say that. I mean, even if you don't know what to do, how do you just tell me that? My chair is dead, I'm stranded over here by the side of the road, and you hit me with, I don't know what to do. Fortunately, I wasn't too far from my dorm, so once we figured something out, it wouldn't be hard for me to get to my dorm, but it was really? How do you... Why? How? I don't know. It was very unprofessional in my opinion. Additionally, too, she asked me, and she was like, so do you have a charger? And I'm thinking, first of all, I'm near no outlets, I'm outside. And I said, yeah, but it's in my room. And she's like, well, could you go get it? And I'm like, no, my chair is dead. But the officers did show up, and I turned my chair on, and magically I had battery, at least enough to get me into the building. And so I plugged my chair in, one of them ran to my room and got my charger. And so we plugged my chair in, and I sat there for 30 minutes. I only needed to be there for 10 at maximum, but I was making sure I had enough juice. So I drove back to my room, and then I plugged it in. And then my dad was going to come down to Friday with new batteries. And I remember I was a little bummed out because there was this yearly party going on campus that I had never been to because it just wasn't really my thing. And I was like, maybe I'll go this year. But I was like, oh, I can't go now because my chair batteries don't exist. Well, Ricky showed up at my door around party start time, maybe half an hour after starting. He's like, hey, do you want to go? And I said, I can't go. My chair's, I can't. My battery's busted. Well, so then he called the resident assistant on duty. I was like, is there any way we can get a wheelchair? So they looked, and they said, unfortunately not. They said you could call campus police again and get on the emergency line to get disability services. But this wasn't really deemed an emergency, in my opinion, so I didn't do that. But then we just decided Ricky would drive us down there, and then we just find us a place to sit. And I just wouldn't walk around or go anywhere. It was just fine by me. so we got there, and there was like a ton of people, like way more than I thought there would be. There was music playing, and there was a truck selling like shaved ice or snowballs or whatever you want to call them. I understand now that the purpose of this party was to like get people to like meet new people and like make friends or whatever. But like when we got there and there's music, I'm picturing like I'm expecting people to be like dancing and partying. People are just standing there. I was so confused. So Ricky and I were sitting in these chairs and we were chatting, and like someone he met the other day like randomly showed up, like saw him, so they came over and was chatting with him, and they were doing some like bingo thing, and they needed to meet a senior. I was senior, so I got to help them with their bingo thing. They had these arm warmers too that looked like a pair of my socks, and I love them. Fortunately, I was too chicken to tell them that, but I don't know. But then Ricky got up to go like look for people that maybe he'd know or make new friends or whatever, which I said is fine. I said, if you need me, I'll be here. So I hung out in this chair and I like stared at this guy and I people watched and I disassociated for like an hour 15 or something like that. And then he brought me back to my dorm, and we were back by say 11:30. And then I meant to ramble and like catch everything up, and I ended up laying down on my bed. It was like, we'll just do the ramble on my bed, and then I ended up falling asleep. I didn't even change into my pajamas. I didn't turn the lights off or anything. I just passed out. I missed taking my antidepressant, so I woke up around 8:45, and then I ended up falling asleep again, and I woke up again pretty close to noon, like 11:45. So I finally got up and I took my antidepressant. Big mistake. I've never taken them during the day again, but I'm not gonna say as to why because I don't want to spoil Friday's ramble. But yeah, Thursday, chair battery died. I went to a party. That's exciting stuff, I guess. Overall, it wasn't too terrible of a day. In fact, I wouldn't even call it terrible. I'd say it was pretty decent, all things considered. But I'm going to go ahead and end the ramble here. As always, if you like to hit like, leave feedback in the comments below, subscribe and turn on post notifications to see everything on things I post. As always, don't forget, your support is with me. I love you all, and most importantly, I was my best team with anyone else, anything else in the entire world. And gotta wait to talk to her again, hang out with her, and tell her about I already am if she's listening to these, but I was going to say tell her about all these weird things that happened to me in college. But I'll be back after I wake up with Friday's ramble. But until then, bye.